Okay. I'm here. This is Prophet Robert Nalaby. I'm here with my Black History nugget, a slave narrative. And we're going to read about the secret religion of slaves. We're on the part that's entitled Spirituals. It's real short. And we're going to read another part since this one's so short. Spirituals. Unable to read the Bible for themselves and skeptical of their master's interpretation of it, most slaves learned the message of the Christian gospel and translated it into songs in terms of their own experiences. As John Dixon Long observed, many of them could state the cardinal doctrines of gospel in the language of song. It was in the spirituals, above all, that the characters, themes, and lessons of the Bible became dramatically real and took on a special meaning for the slaves. Drawing from the Bible, Protestant hymns, sermons, and African styles of singing and dancing, the slaves fashioned a religious music which expressed their faith in moving, immediate, colloquial, and often magnificently dramatic terms. Spirituals are too often seen simply as words and notes printed on a page. What must be recognized is that they emerge as communal songs, heard, felt, sung, and often danced with clap and hand clapping, foot stomping, head shaking, and excitement. Conversion. In 1901, W.E.B. Du Bois wrote the classic essay, Faith of Our Fathers, in which he distinguished the three characteristics of the slaves' religion as being the preacher, the music, and the frenzy or shouting. He might well have added a fourth characteristic, the conversion experience. The experience of conversion was essential in the religious life of the slaves. For the only path to salvation lay through the lonesome valley wherein the seeker underwent conversion, an experience which they treasured as one of the peak monuments in their lives. The typical conversion experience was preceded by a period of anxiety over one's salvation, which lasted for days. And I must say this, children, this is something that all of us must go through. The typical conversion experience was preceded by a period of anxiety over one's salvation, which lasted for days or even weeks. Josiah Henson, at the age of 18, was struck by the words of a sermon he heard. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, tasted death for every man, for the high, for the low, for the rich, for the poor, the bond, the free, the Negro in his chains, the man in gold and diamonds, Henson recalled. Now, this is what they taught. This is what slaves believed. They believed that God was for everybody. The slave that's tied to a pole about to get his back ripped up, he loved that. And the Most High loved the guy that was about to do the ripping. It was just an equal religion. That's a slave religion, y'all. That's a slave religion. I don't care how honest you are. That's a slave religion. Henson recalled, I stood and heard it. I touched my heart and cried out. I wonder if Jesus Christ died for me. Why would a slave wonder if Jesus Christ died for him? Why would a slave wonder? I don't care about nobody else. Why would a slave wonder if the Most High died for him? Because the people that was in charge of him told him that he didn't even have a soul. It was a lot of confusion around the humanity and the faith of our people. So it's no wonder that he wondered that. I was convicted that I was not on my way to heaven. That's not a surprise because you're living in hell. But in the way to hell, that state I labored under for the space of 5 or 6 months. I could see a slave going through a conversion spirit period where he's trying to get close to the Most High, but he's looking at the circumstances of his life, and guess what he do? He goes commit suicide because he's convinced by what he sees around him in his life. Yeah, God don't love me. I must not even have a soul, just like Massa said. I can see a lot of slaves killing themselves dealing with religion, and I can see why so many slaves didn't deal with Christianity. I can understand why. They're like, we slaves. Where are we getting all this stuff from anyway? Our salvation? It's like our salvation. Okay, who was this God supposed to save us? Oh, this white guy in this picture. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, I'm good. Now that's all right. I just go to hell. Because that's the guy who got me in hell right now. I found no way wherein I could escape the damnation of hell. A slave wrote this. I'm reading a slave narrative. Only through the merits of my dying Lord and Savior, a white man, abandoning himself to prayer, Leo found relief and felt such love and joy as my tongue was not able to express. Maybe the Most High just broke through on this guy, Lyle, through all that stuff and just gave him that feeling through all that smoke and mirrors and white Jesus. And I'm not saying, y'all, that our people couldn't have a real relationship with the Most High dealing with white Jesus. I'm not saying that. The Most High could reach you wherever you are. Whatever hole you sunk in, it's not so deep that he can't grab you. So he felt such joy, love, and joy as my tongue was not able to express. After this, I declared before the congregation of believers the work which God had done in my soul. At the center of the evangelical Protestant tradition, the tradition which slaves increasingly made their own, stood the experience of conversion. So the evangelical Protestants tradition was the main tradition, religious tradition, that our people gravitated towards. I want to read one more paragraph. Some slaves rejected Christianity and preserved their traditional African beliefs or their beliefs in Islam. Other slaves accepted Christianity of a different type, Catholicism. Relatively few slaves remained concentrated in southern Louisiana and Maryland, were Roman Catholic, according to the generous estimates. The number of Black Catholics, free and slave, at the time of the emancipation was 100,000 out of approximately 4 million. The predominant religious tradition then among the slaves and the descendants of the United States was evangelical Protestantism. One more paragraph. Coming into Canaan. Slaves believed that God had acted was acting and would continue to act within human history and within their own particular history as a peculiar people, just as long as he had acted on behalf of the other chosen people, biblical Israel. So they had some type of shadowy consciousness about themselves being the children of Israel. That's what I get from that. Moreover, but what they didn't understand is why they were in slavery. I've never read anything where a slave realized why they were in slavery. They had notions that they were the children of Israel, but they never could figure out why they was in slavery. I don't even think they even entertained the question. I'm sure they did, but it really didn't go nowhere. Moreover, slave religion had at this worldly impact, not only in leading some slaves to acts of external rebellion, but also in helping slaves to assert and maintain a sense of personal value, even of ultimate worth. That some slaves maintain their identity as persons, despite a system bent on reducing them to subhuman levels, was certainly due in part to their religious life. When I read this, and that's the conclusion of this, but that's all I'm going to read for tonight. But when I read this, I think about cow's dung and man's dung. I just think about that when I read this. Cow's dung and man's dung. And when our people were receiving Christianity, they were receiving cow's dung, man's dung, and then they made it their own and turned it in and came up with cow's dung. That's how I see that. This just sounds just like that. Ezekiel chapter, I think 4. But anyway, that's my slave nugget for tonight. My Black History nugget for tonight. I'm not going to keep y'all. I've been on here twice today anyway. And I'm going to let you all go. I wonder why I can't see my chat room. Let me see here. They said my chat is disabled, and I'm trying to figure out why. But anyway, you all take it easy. This is Prophet Rawanawabi signing out. You all take it easy. Have a wonderful evening. And shalom. And give me those thumbs up. Let me get those thumbs ups if you appreciated what was delivered on tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, you all. I wonder why I can't see my chat room. Shh.
Jadriel, I need you to sweep that floor right in that corner. Right now.
Okay, I can't. I went to about 2 minutes.
Oh, hold on a second now.
Yeah, that corner.
Okay.
Trying to see something here. Trying to see something.
Going to bed is dinner.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I mean my cord. I mean my jacket.
Trying to see something.
And the blue cord is upstairs.
Yeah.
Blue beep 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 beep.